Hi, this is Jeff Wells, Walk Among Heroes. We're here at a very special place called Brecourt Manor. For those of you unfamiliar, this was Easy Company's first objective. You know Easy Company is a band of brothers. It was their first objective on D-Day. They landed about 7 kilometers from here, around 1 a.m. in the morning on D-Day morning. They hiked, moved 7 miles to their what was supposed to be their original objective on Utah Beach. So as they moved, they came upon a battalion headquarters building, which is approximately, I'd say 1,500 meters this direction. They met with battalion. Battalion said, "Hey, winners, I need you guys to grab your men and go assault this artillery objective at this place called Brecourt Manor," which is where we're standing today. It was a cattle farm back in 1944. It's a cattle farm today. It's owned by a gentleman by the name of Charles WWII. He owns it today. His father was here in 1944. As the Dick Winters gathered his men, he had 12 men. 12 men for which to assault this objective. Standing here guarding this entire compound, there were at least 52 Germans. I've heard estimates 60, 70, even more Germans, but there were at least 52. There were 4 artillery guns, 105 millimeter guns, big guns that were set up. The first one is right behind me here along this wood line. If you look up and down this wood line, you'll notice this tree line. That is a hedgerow. The entire field, if you continue this way, the entire field is surrounded by hedgerows. On the back side of this field, there are 2 MG-42 machine guns. This direction, as we have a helicopter flying over. This direction is Utah Beach. Okay, so this is aimed directly east, directly at the beach. So originally it was thought that there were 3 guns along this wood line and then 1 gun over here. That was the way this has been taught for years. But recently, Charles and his family decided to excavate, and there was absolutely no evidence of a gun found here. The reason being, if there was a gun found here, what would the objective be? There's nothing over there. That's parallel to the beach. So there were 4 gun positions, all oriented right along this wood line. This is gun number 1, and we're gonna walk together this way. So this direction, you'll see there's a trench. There's a trench that connects all of these gun positions. So the way it would work, don't think of an artillery battery as a gun. Think of it as almost like a town or a city, because each one of these artillery batteries, you know, the Germans spent months digging them in, fortifying them, protecting them, and so they literally would have a small village of soldiers that would be protecting one of these areas. As you can see, moving forward, this is gun 2 that we're approaching right here. They've excavated the trench line, which is basically where the hedgerow is at, and you can see gun 2, and it was also oriented towards Utah Beach, which all 4 of them were. All right, and as we move up the wood line, between gun 2 and gun 3, there were 2 additional items that were dug into the trench line. The first was an ammunition storage area, and the second was an information station. So the way that the assault happened, Easy Company approached from that direction. They set up 2 machine gun positions, one which is known as Lipton's Tree, and then made an assault into the initial trench line and then the gun position. Once they finally did this, they were able to secure the first gun position. They realized, oh no, we don't have any explosives to blow up the gun with. So they then had to send soldiers back to battalion headquarters while they secured the gun position to bring the explosives back. Everybody believes that this happened in 10 minutes or 15 minutes, this mission, because that's how it's portrayed on Band of Brothers. In reality, this entire mission took several hours. They returned with the explosives. They worked their way up and down the trench line sequentially from gun 1, gun 2, gun 3, and gun 4. And then as they were working their way up the trench line, right about here they stumbled on this information station. Once they hit the information station, Dick Winters found a map, and that map contained, he knew it looked interesting, but once he returned it to battalion headquarters, they found out that map contained all of the German defensive positions on the peninsula, the Cotentin Peninsula, and in Normandy, which turned out to be tremendously beneficial. And that was literally right in this area here that he found that information station. This is gun position number 3, right here along the wood line. You can see gun position number 3, and then further down, approximately 50 meters from the end, you can see gun position number 4. Over the course of several hours, they utilized suppressive fire. They utilized movement techniques to cover and move, which is still taught in our U.S. Army today. And they moved from trench to trench, bunker to bunker. The trenches actually had bends in them, so they were able to move to one corner, suppress, move to the next corner, suppress, and literally go from bunker to bunker until they were finally able to take out the 4th gun. Along the way, there was one Easy Company soldier that was killed, another one that was wounded, and then afterwards, Dick Winters, because of his leadership, and again, he was moving with the men the entire time, because of his leadership, he was actually recommended for or submitted for a Medal of Honor, which actually was declined or denied because both airborne divisions had a rule on D-Day. At the time, they would only give 1 Medal of Honor. This is a great view of gun position 4. So this is the last one. You can see now as they're excavating it, they're starting to dig down further into the bunker. And as soon as this position was taken out, Easy Company moved a little bit further down the wood line in the trench, and then they evacuated that direction and headed back towards battalion headquarters, which is behind the camera that way. Overall, as I said, this took several hours. It was a very difficult mission, but it was executed with such precision, and it was such a masterfully designed mission with no planning time that the tactics behind this mission are still taught today, and they're considered doctrine. This mission's been utilized to develop much of the infantry doctrine that's being used in the United States infantry today, and it's still being taught at West Point. And the original sketch that Dick Winters did after the mission is in many military textbooks today. So, unbelievable mission. Today it's just a cow pasture. This is probably exactly how it looked before the Germans moved in and set up this position, again, to try to stop the troops on Utah Beach until they met Dick Winters and the soldiers from Easy Company.